I'm kind of sad. I always like when I get to, cook for my grandma, or not grandma, my girlfriend. Oh God, but my girlfriend and stuff like that.
Do you want us to cut this part from the? He has over 40,000 followers online. He's a Twitch and YouTube partner. Cat lover, strategy gamer. Welcome, ShuffleFM, to Streamforge Radio. How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Tell me, first thing I like to ask these days is, what are you playing right now?
Like you were saying before, I do the strategy games and the indie games and stuff like that. So I've been playing, obviously, Darkest Dungeon. That's like the hallmark, but I've really been enjoying Into the Breach. I played Circus Electrique yesterday, which was really fun, and I'm looking for some new stuff in the coming months too.
Like what?
Well, there's Darkest Dungeon updates, but then there's this one game coming out called A Few Nights More, which looks interesting. I was talking to those people, and there's another game I've been following, like The Last Spell. I'm hoping those updates are good.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're an indie strategy game lover, there's definitely a lot out there to explore, and it's a really good time to be in that niche, I guess.
And why Darkest Dungeon? I mean, I know it's a great game, but what makes you want to play this game more than others?
It was one of those things where it's actually kind of like as a content creator and stuff, the community shapes you, because I was making other stuff before, just like random Let's Play videos of games I thought were fun. And then I made a really just god-awful tier list for Darkest Dungeon just as a fun project. And those videos took off, and then people wanted to see guides. So I started making some guides. And then, 2 years later, we're a Darkest Dungeon channel.
Okay, interesting. So, like, your community basically made you a Darkest Dungeon content creator in a way.
Yeah, they did, but it's like in the nicest way possible. It's
Right.
not, if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't be doing it. It's just like people said,
course.
hey, we like this, so all right, fine, I'll keep doing that.
Well, it's good to have have your community as a compass for your content, I think, as a content creator, because oftentimes you're not sure what they like or what you should do, or what resonates with people. And it's good that you've had the opportunity to get that kind of like very strong feedback on some of the content you made.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling about Darkest Dungeon 2?
I do really enjoy it. It's different from the first game, and that's been kind of putting some people off. And the timed Epic exclusive is also not sitting well with some people, but I understand why the studio did it. But I think it's on its way to becoming a great game, and it might unseat the first. We'll see, but it's been a step up in pretty much every department except for like some of the bigger gameplay systems, so to speak.
Yeah, it's interesting though that you're playing the first one still, right? To be clear.
Yeah.
And in your mind, nothing surpassed it thus far?
In terms of just like quality or gameplay?
Well, in terms of your interest, like your yeah.
Yeah, I mostly still play it because that's kind of what the fan base wants.
Okay.
But I jokingly refer to it as like my job game, because that's what I kind of always come back to.
So do you wake up in the morning sometimes being like, I don't want to play, but I'll do it anyways?
If I can be quite honest, yeah, sometimes. There was a stretch last year from about, I want to say like July to October, before Darkest Dungeon 2 initially dropped, where I had to keep like grinding DD1, and I was just so burnt out at that point that I didn't want to boot it up, but I kept doing it.
Mm-hmm. Do you play any other games in strategy?
Yeah, I've when I was trying to build the channel to what it is now, like I had to keep going on DD, but I've been playing a lot of other stuff. I have a couple various companies that, like, you know, pitch games either free or sponsored. So I've tried a lot of things. Like Backpack Hero is really fun. I want to get back to that. Legend of Keepers, that's what I worked with you guys on. I really enjoyed that game. Yep. And it was kind of nice because I wanted to play that game, you know, a while back, and then y'all approached me about it, and I was like, oh, this just works out. So I want to play that one again. And then, like I was saying before, Last Spell, Gloomhaven, Temtem just dropped yesterday officially. Like there's a lot of stuff I want to get to. It's more of a time constraint, and it's pretty tough to get it all right.
Do you have time to, I mean, or do you even want a game when you're not streaming?
Honestly, that's kind of what I would talk to like new content creators about, is you have to learn or understand the fact you may just not like video games anymore. I barely play games when I don't stream. And I kind of need to, though. Like, I need to research them, find new games to show off and learn them to make videos and stuff like that. But, you know, when I'm not streaming or I don't have a video that I want to make, I rarely play anything. I just kind of like watch Netflix or something.
There any other hobbies that where we don't know about you that you do when you're not, you know, live on Twitch or on YouTube?
Not really. I mean, like I enjoy spending time with like my girlfriend, cooking, you know, take care of our cats and stuff like that. But I'm kind of a shut-in, like especially with the pandemic and stuff, you know, so I just been inside mostly, and I just watch stuff online. I'm just kind of like an online parasite, and then you know, I make content like that. That's about it.
You talked about like the fact that you like to cook. What is your, do you have like a signature dish that you make?
Yeah, it's not anything crazy, but there's this baked salmon recipe that I like to do when I'm trying to, you know, impress people. And I do it mostly because it's easy. You know, you just like foil wrap some salmon with some like oil and butter and some other stuff like that, and throw it in the oven for 20 minutes, but it usually comes out pretty good. And
well, let's go through the whole recipe. I want to know. So you put salmon fillet, I'm guessing, in foil. Okay, so what do you put in there?
If you want to put butter, you can, but usually I just kind of leave it to about like a tablespoon of olive oil. And then like, this is a recipe I found online, but like I'll cut some lemons into like slices. I'll put those on top with some green onion and then like chopped garlic, and then you foil wrap it into like this little boat thing or whatever, and put it in the oven for about 22 minutes for, I think, at like 400 or 425. I can't remember off the top of my head, but put it in there for that long. You take it out and then you open it, and it just like all the steam comes out. Yeah. And it's, you know, just juicy and
very moist, delicious. Yeah. I have a similar recipe actually. Ooh. I would, you know, being from Canada, I put maple syrup on top of it, and I'm not the biggest fan of. Well, wait a minute. Okay. I'm not the biggest fan of like mixing like salty and, you know, like sweet, but for this one, just a little bit, like a tablespoon of maple syrup on top of it. It actually doesn't really taste like sweet. It just kind of like helps the salmon become even more moist, if you will, or more like tender in a way. And that's actually a recipe from my dad that he got from like people from the Great North that he met like in the 60s or something, that they were cooking, like that's the way they were cooking like salmon on like actual like fire. And I mean, you know, so it's very similar, but I think like you put like onions as well or something. So you got the onions, you got the maple syrup, but it's very similar. It's I can confirm, guys at home, you should try this out. This is a delicious way to cook salmon for sure.
Yeah, I'm interested. I never.
Well, I'm talking about your recipe for sure, because they're very similar. They're very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna try the maple syrup.
Yeah, just a little bit. You know, just a little bit. Yeah, I love to cook too. It's such a fun thing to like, I don't know, sink your time in. For me, like time flies, and I love to cook for people. But Are you the only cook at home?
No, it's kind of like a rotating duty, but you know, as my streaming career and stuff like that's gotten bigger, I've had less time for it, and I'm kind of sad. I always like when I get to you know, cook for my grandma, or not grandma, my girlfriend. Oh God, but my girlfriend and stuff like that.
Do you want us to cut this part from the?
No, it's fine. I don't even know if that was a Freudian slip. Both my grandmas passed years back, so I don't even know why I said that. But yeah, so it's fun. I get nervous cooking for like big groups and stuff like that, but if it's me and my girlfriend, it's fine. Like I cooked for my girlfriend's parents one time, and I was like triple checking everything I did just to make sure, and they're like, it's all right. Like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, it's always more stressful to cook with people that you don't cook from often. You know, they're gonna judge your cooking, you as a cook, out of like this one dish, you know, like it's that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Tell me, ShuffleFM, where does that name come from?
Oh man, you know, this question actually comes up a lot. It's kind of like a weird hybrid name. So years back when I played the World of Warcraft and stuff, you know, I was a complete degenerate. No, I'm kidding. But I played WoW, and I transferred servers with the hunter I was playing to join a bigger guild and stuff. And I needed to rename my character, and just for some random reason I picked Shuffle. You know, I was like, all right, we'll do that. That's cool. And the FM is actually kind of a leftover. It doesn't really mean anything now. Like, people think it means like radio and stuff. It doesn't. But it was when I was like a teenager, my online handle was Full Metal, because I liked Full Metal Alchemist. And when I couldn't find, or like when the name Shuffle was taken on online platforms and stuff, I just put FM at the end, and that's just how it came to be. So it doesn't really mean much anymore, but that's the story.
Yeah, I was surprised that Shuffle was even available on like a WoW server. It must have been like early days, you know?
Yeah, I don't know how I got it. But
yeah. Yeah, you must have been trying to get just a name, you know, and just try different things, and somebody like, oh, Shuffle is available, let's go with that. Like, I'm I'm not gonna spend another 2 hours trying to like find another name.
Yeah.
But it does sound good in my opinion.
Yo, thank you.
ShuffleFM. So when did you start creating content? What was the first, and when was the first piece of content you've created on Twitch or YouTube or anywhere?
I was actually a YouTuber first for many years, and then people kept saying, are you gonna stream? Can you stream? Can you stream, bro? I was like, all right, fine. So that's how that happened. But when it was 2012, and I really just wanted to, like, all the success is recent for the most part. Like, I was just kind of doing whatever for like 7 years, but I really just wanted to do something. Like, I was working a lot, and I didn't really have any, you know, creative expression, so to speak. I never thought I needed it, but I kind of felt like I did. And I used to watch Let's Players like Nintendo Capri Sun and Cholera Ninja. Those are like my favorites back then. And I'd watch them do Let's Plays. I was like, you know what, I can do this too. And so I started off doing it for fun. My first series was Super Paper Mario on the Wii, and everything was horrible about it. You know, it was really bad audio balancing. The recording of like the visuals and stuff, it messed up between episodes, so it went from like HD to standard def a few times. And I just really didn't know what I was doing, but I stuck with it.
Great game though.
Yes, very, very fun game. If you have a Wii, you like Paper Mario, you should play it.
It's one of the best for the Wii, and there's a lot of games for the Wii, but yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. And then I got into like guide content. Actually, there's this console MOBA game for Lord of the Rings called Guardians of Middle Earth, and that game's a whole other bag. But I started off making guides for that game, and my first big success was the first guide I made. It got to like 5,000 views, and I was super happy. And some people in that little community actually started knowing who I was. I got to cast tournaments, like fan tournaments and stuff like that, so that was a lot of fun. And then I went back to doing Let's Plays for several years until Darkest Dungeon happened.
Mm-hmm. When was that?
I'm actually not like an early access player for DD. I got in when it released about a month later.
Okay.
And so I just started with that. I did the Let's Play. The Let's Play did fine in terms of, you know, small channels, views. And then I went back, made a tier list and stuff like that. Then people wanted to see more stuff for it. And, you know, fast forward and here we are.
Very cool. I mean, the fact that you started it, I mean, basically 10 years ago is pretty crazy, honestly. A lot of experience. Have you been, like, what kept you going is the question I have for you, because, you know, I know that as a content creator, you can, and a lot of us will try for a couple of weeks, couple of months, and, you know, not get instant success and just stop, you know, be discouraged. You've said that you've had recent successes, but like you know, what I'm getting from what you're saying is that 10 years ago, you know, you didn't get instant success, and it was a lot of quote unquote grinding, you know, back then. But what kept you going? What kept you wake up in the morning and be like, all right, I'll make another video and another one, without necessarily getting, you know, the views that you may have hoped for, if you will?
I think part of it is like another kind of new content creator tip is, if you want to get into this, don't do it for like view chasing and money, because you're just gonna be disappointed, you know. So I just started off, I did it for fun. It was just a hobby, and I don't know, it was just I like to get better at things. I like to practice things, you know. So my first few videos were bad, and then like I try a new game and I try like a different recording setup or new software, and so I just kind of kept teaching myself how to do it as I went forward. And there was definitely burnout and breaks in between. Like I go a few weeks or like a month or something without an upload, so it wasn't like consistent. Like these videos when I was dropping them were getting like 30 views, you know, it was nothing. So it was really just a labor of love. But I also had a very small, like dedicated fan base at the time. I had like 4 people, and I could name them, but I'm you know, gonna protect them here. But like they would comment on like almost every video I put out. I was like, okay, well, I can't disappoint these 4 people, so I need to keep making stuff. And
I'm sure they know who they are, so
yes,
we'll salute them.
Yeah, they definitely know who they are. And I talked to 3 out of 4 of them. I think the 4th guy just kind of dropped off, but I still talk to 3 of them every now and then, so we keep in touch.
That's amazing. I remember when I did content creation, I had the same thing. A group again of 3-4 people that would show up every single time I would go live. The first one in the chat, and again, I still keep in touch with these guys today. It's an amazing feeling, in my opinion, just create these very special connections. So you started on YouTube. You went, you know, you've been bullied to go to Twitch.
Yeah.
You got partnered.
Yes.
How was the road from your first Twitch stream to getting partnered?
It was honestly kind of terrifying, just because like I didn't want to set the bar that high. I was thinking like, oh, it'd be nice if I got partnered, because I was already a YouTube partner, so that was cool. But when I first started streaming, my first stream was like 6 viewers or something. It's like, okay, you know, baby steps. And then I saw other big streamers and stuff like that. They would do the little YouTube promo. It'd be like a 10-second video, like, hey, I'm going live on Twitch, you know, link down here. And, you know, channels with like hundreds of thousands of subs were doing that. And I went, okay, maybe that's what I should be doing. So I did that, and then all of a sudden, like 40 viewers, you know, people started popping in. And I had a real life friend who said, oh, you're going to be partner in no time. I was like, no, let's not count these chickens before they hatch and stuff like that. But it actually went pretty fast. I think I was incredibly lucky. So I I started in January of 2021, and I was getting like 6, 10, 20, 40 viewers, and I got really lucky. A lot of it's timing, with content creation. And Darkest Dungeon 1 started blowing up. The DD2 announcement came and stuff like that, so people just wanted to keep playing the game. And I was making guides that were doing well, and the game kept going on sale, so more people kept getting into it. Then it went on like Game Pass for Xbox. Like, all these things kept bringing in new people to the community, and they kept coming to my stream. And suddenly I was averaging like 100 and something viewers for this game. Like this 5-year-old game at the time, and I was blown away. And when I was getting ready to apply for partnership, I was reading various subreddits and discussions, and people were like, just apply anyway. You're probably getting rejected the first time. It usually happens to everyone. So I was like, okay. And I applied. They rejected me, of course. They sent me an email, and they said, your numbers look good. They're growing, but we want to see if they're consistent. And the growth is going to continue before we do it. So I was like, okay. And there's no timetable on reapplying. So I waited about 4 weeks, and then I reapplied. And in the application and stuff, I said, you guys told me I needed more growth or consistency. It's been another month. This seems like it's legitimate. My YouTube channel is growing alongside it. So we're growing this community. And then they gave it to me. And I got very lucky because, no joke, like 2 weeks later, my views started dropping because the game stopped going on sale and stuff. So I was like, all right, I snuck in there. They haven't kicked me yet.
Yeah. And since you got it, how has been your life as a content creator on Twitch?
It's been less stressful, if you can kind of believe that, because getting partner is a lot of work. You have to kind of know what your niche is or your audience, and you have to really hammer that as best you can. You can't. I think one of the best tips I heard about streaming, like that's helped me, is that a lot of streamers just kind of turn on the camera and start, as we've been using this word, grinding. They just throw on the camera for like 6, 8, 12 hours and just hope for the best.
Right.
And someone, I forget who it was, but a few streamers have said this. They're like, the way they approach it is they try and make it a show. They have a plan. They go, I'm going to do this today, and work towards that. And they only stream for about as much energy as they have. And at the time, for me, that was about 4 hours. So I was like, okay, I'll try and get this done in 4 hours. And once 4 hours are up, that's it. The show's over. And so I made it as consistent as possible, and I tried to be as entertaining, I guess, as I could be. And so that's what I focused on.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and also I think turn-based games are, for content creators, are a tremendous genre or a tremendous feature in a game to have, because you can just take a breath, talk to your audience, maybe even discuss the strategy you're thinking of and get their feedback and so on. So the interaction is like the flow. It makes it easier to interact with your audience, because some games, they're just so fast paced, you don't have the time to interact. And here you got some time to, again, to communicate with them, at your own pace. Basically, you dictate the pace, if you will, of your content, or at least what's happening on the screen. How do you use that time on stream when you're playing turn-based games?
I definitely agree with everything you just said. Like, you get to take that time to talk to people, which I think is what people enjoy most about streaming. They don't want to just see gameplay. They can just see that anywhere. But some people get away with it. But yeah, I always take that time to read messages and stuff like that. My chat's usually pretty active for its size, which is nice. So if people are saying cool things, I'll comment on it. If people have questions about what I'm doing, I'll talk about it. And yeah, like with the turn-based games specifically, people, since it's turn-based and there's time in between, everyone always has an opinion, right? It's like, oh, you should have did this. Why didn't you do this? And you get to talk about that. The game's not going anywhere. You just get to do what you want. So it's really nice to be interactive with the viewers. I think that's what I enjoy most about it. When I play those like real-time games and stuff like that, I don't get to talk to them as much, and I feel like I'm just kind of ignoring them. I don't like that.
Yeah, it clashes with the typical flow of your stream.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand that. Well, like, do you take their advice, or do you dictate basically, you know, your strategy? Like, you're the one, you're leading your strategy, and you're leading your, you know, you're the master of your game, if you will, and they're just there saying like, no, you should have done this instead, and they're just, you know, screaming in the chat telling you how wrong your decision was.
It's a bit of both. Sometimes I'm really stubborn, and sometimes I'm kind of open to it. It depends on the game too. Like for Darkest Dungeon, like I'm not trying to sound smug and stuff, but I really don't take too much input because I feel like I understand that game pretty well. There's a few people that if they say something, I'll listen, but for the most part, people say, oh, why don't you do this? And it's like, all right, you know, I'm such a galactic intellect that I already thought of what you were saying, and I know why it's incorrect. No, I'm kidding. I'm not that harsh, but yeah, so for that kind of game, you know, that I already understand, I usually just kind of do what I'm doing. But for games I don't know, I always take input because it helps me learn. And I feel like if I'm a channel focused on, you know, getting better at games and learning stuff, if I can't take criticism or advice and stuff like that, then it kind of doesn't look good. You know, it's like, yeah, I have all the answers. I'm, you know, some super genius. So for games like Into the Breach, chat was helping me with that like almost every turn because that game is super hard, surprisingly. Gloomhaven was another one. I was getting a lot of chat input, so I take advice where I need it.
No, that's good. I mean, I think people like to be able to, like, I don't know, I guess we could call it backseating in a way, you know. That's a fun thing that some people are looking for, and I'm sure a lot of people are looking for help to get better at the game, to understand, you know, the different strategies, and so they can have your opinion or your take on it, and also your audience's take on it, you know, which I think is a great combination. Where do you see your I'll say channels go moving forward? Where do you want to take ShuffleFM's channel into the future?
Before, like I said, it was kind of a hobby, but now it is definitely a career status. I mean, it's emerging, so to speak. Like there are other things I could do that would pay better, like right now, because I have a college degree and stuff, which is nice. But in the next,
in what? Just curious.
Social science, of all things.
Interesting.
Yeah, actually, small story, but I was a tutor like years back, and I used to be a chemistry major, but that was like, you know, it wasn't like, it was hard, but it was like really time consuming. Like I had to take extra classes and stuff, so it was just too slow for my timetable. And so I was like, okay, I can actually get into social science. So I had a lot of credits in that, so I just swapped to that. And I had a coworker when I was a tutor who thought I was still a chemistry major, and he's like, well, at least you're not doing something worthless like social science. And I was like, oh yeah, well, that's actually what I swapped my major to. And he just kind of like looked down. He felt bad. I was like, no, that's cool, dude. I get it. But I think it's interesting. It kind of applies to what I'm doing anyway, you know, with like economics and human trends and stuff like that. So it has a little bit of use. But yeah, so as far as the channel goes in the future, you know, obviously everyone wants to be super huge if they're trying to make it a career and stuff like that, but we'll see if that happens. I'm hoping for just consistent growth. I just want enough to like pay the bills and stuff like that. So things like the sponsorships help, new games that I get to see early and stuff like that, those help. Success of games I've already covered helps. So like Darkest Dungeon 2 specifically, that's supposed to hit 1.0 next year. They said February. We'll see if they hit that date, but I kind of expect the channel to pop off once that happens, because it'll be on Steam and then eventually consoles and stuff, and that always brings in new people. So I'm hoping the channel just steadily grows and people enjoy it and they stick around.
Yeah, it's still a lot of, you know, uncertainty.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm hoping it blows up, and you know, I'm hoping for growth and this and that, like, because it's a career choice where you just control yourself, but you don't necessarily control how people perceive you.
Yes.
You don't control how people are they're interested in the games you play. And as you said, like, you can be like somewhat lucky as well with your game choice. I know we've had many creators talk about this. Like, I remember Jorbs talking about this, you know, in terms of like the timing, you know, with like Slay the Spire, you know, because yeah, you're creating great content helps, but if no one cares about the game you're playing and you're creating great content, then nobody will discover you, really, you know. So yeah, do you deal well with uncertainty like this?
It's it's gotten easier as time goes on. My girlfriend absolutely hates it though. So like, for any, you know, I keep referring to the emerging content creators, make sure your partners are okay with it, because like you're gonna have times where stuff flops, or the game you're covering suddenly no one cares about it, and it's so just uncertain that you should have a backup plan. You should be able to financially support it. You shouldn't go insane doing it in terms of like buying the expensive cameras and, you know, all the, like, I, as a content creator, I still don't have like a mixing board and stuff like that for my audio. I should have one, but like I don't, just because I don't know if I need to shell out the money for that yet. I probably should at this point, but like all those extra peripherals and gadgets, you know, like people think they need all that to start streaming, and they don't. But if you do find success, don't go nuts on those. But as far as the uncertainty goes, it is incredibly uncertain. It's just top to bottom, you know. You don't know if your game's gonna do well. Like, if Darkest Dungeon 2 flops, I'm hoping it doesn't. It looks like it won't. But if it flops, you know, my channel could just tank, and that's the end of it. I have to go get a different job. So it's kind of scary, for sure.
Yeah, but it makes you appreciate, maybe, I don't know, the time you have doing content creation, because it's ephemeral. It's not necessary. I mean, it's ephemeral, period, because nobody does the same thing forever. It just, you know, that's the nature of life. But I think maybe it's an opportunity as a content creator, and you or anyone really, to appreciate the opportunity. I missed my time when I was doing content creation. I wish I was so often looking in the future, saying like, oh, I hope, or I wish, or I want to be bigger, and oh no, my numbers weren't as well, like where I want them to be, and this and that. So focus on where I should be, in, you know, air quotes, instead of like where I am right now, with people actually spending their time, which is the most valuable resource we have as human beings, to watch you or any other content creator. That's crazy to me. Like, they're choosing to spend their limited time on Earth being in front of their screens watching you play a game. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. It's mind-blowing, honestly, and that's kind of why I was saying, when like I do videos and streams, I try and have a purpose, unless I'm there's some days I just kind of, you know, want to try stuff, and I just try a few different games. But like you were saying, this is their time. They could be doing other stuff, you know. They could be seeing friends, or playing their own games, or watching a show, or working a second job. I don't know. There's so many things they could be doing, and they're choosing to spend it with you. And if they come back for more than one day, it's like, what the hell? You know, you did something that they enjoyed. And so that's why I really try and take it seriously. If people are choosing to spend their time and their money or whatever supporting what, you know, me and other streamers do, like, you have to make it count. You have to do the best you can. Otherwise, you're just kind of doing a disservice. You're wasting everyone's time at that point, I feel like.
Yeah, and your own, I believe, right? So it's it goes back to the 3 or 4 musketeers that were there at the start, right?
Yeah.
You know, so now I want to look at some tweets.
My tweets? Oh god.
Yes,
Oh
yours.
no.
Yes, sir. The first one is from December 17th, 2021.
Oh god, you went
a while
back.
back. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, it's
no.
not me. I don't even know which tweets these are. This it's our producer that picked them. So I'm looking at these for the first time. You said then, don't tell Darkest Dungeon 1, but every time I'm playing it, I'm thinking of Darkest Dungeon 2.
Yeah, that's true.
Why is that?
That was definitely part of the burnout phase for Darkest Dungeon 1, but that still kind of holds true. Like I played Darkest Dungeon 1 so much, almost like 2,000 hours at this point. I've done so many challenges in the game, and I've made so much content for it that, like, when I play the game, it's automatic. You know, just I see the enemies that appear on screen, I know exactly what to do immediately, and I just press buttons and I'm just talking to people. Darkest Dungeon 2, what I liked is that everything was new and it was fresh, and there's a lot to explore, and so it was like kind of familiar in some ways, but I was learning new stuff too, so it was really engaging to interact with. So every time I was playing DD1, I kept thinking about DD2. I was like, oh, this is different in the new game, or I wonder how this would look in the new game, like this character if they were moved over and stuff. So that's why I said that.
What are your hopes for DD2?
I'm just hoping that they meet their goals, because they're pretty ambitious with what they want to do, and I do think it's a great game in the making. We'll see if it's, you know, game of the year quality and stuff like that, but they've really done well with what they have. Like when the game first showed up in magazines and stuff, people were upset at the art style. They're like, oh, I don't like how the characters look now. They're not the little big head chibi things they were in the first game. We don't, you know, like, how do these moves look when they're animated and stuff? Is there animation? We didn't even know if there was animation at the time. And, you know, people had a lot of reservations. And then the game trailer dropped, and everyone's like, oh, this looks beautiful. You know, they heard the new music, they saw the animations, they saw the characters in motion. Everything was just good, so everyone got really excited. And the game, the struggles the game is kind of having is all related to the gameplay. They're having to revamp a couple of the systems, and that's in the future, so I'm hoping they get those right, or at least where people enjoyed them compared to what they are now. So I think for the game right now, the art team is absolutely killing it. You know, everyone likes it. The people that said they didn't like the art before, I don't see those comments anymore. Everyone just kind of, you know, got over that. They enjoy it. And so if they can nail down some of the gameplay aspects, I think it's going to be a great game.
Do you think that they've tried to change too many things about the sequel?
I don't think they change as many things as people think. Like, in terms of the combat is mostly similar, just some things work differently. I guess that's kind of a, you know, ambiguous answer or something like that. But they did change how the game is structured. Instead of like this long, grueling 40-hour, 50-hour campaign, you're doing like a 4-hour roguelite run. And some people don't like that.
I mean, I hope there's a save state you can. Right?
Oh yeah, if you quit out, the game saves and stuff like that. But
Right.
there's I know this is something I brought up when I talked to the Red Hook people and stuff too, because I have the luxury of being able to do that now, which is crazy. You know, you cover this game for so long, then you get to talk to them. It's really nice. But
Yep.
I've been telling them for a minute that, you know, the runs, they last too long for the format. You know, roguelites and stuff, we're kind of used to 30 minutes, 1 hour, maybe an hour and a half max.
Yeah.
And this game is clocking in at like 4 hours and stuff. And so something they've been trying to do actively, you know, over the last few months is reduce the runtime. So I'm really hoping they get it down. I don't expect it to get down to like 90 minutes and stuff, but if it gets down to like maybe 3 hours or something, I think that'd be a bit more acceptable, I guess.
Yeah, that's still a lot of time,
Mhm.
you know. It's like half story driven, like indie story driven games. You know,
Yeah.
like it's a lot of time to basically play a roguelite that you're gonna have to play on repeat for the foreseeable future. I think it's I'm not sure I personally understand why they would go that direction, because I'm not as familiar as you about obviously about the genre, but I know, like, as a dad of a young kid, and with the, you know, it sounds to me I don't have time to invest that much time into a roguelite run, you know. But at the same time, I'm super curious about DD2. So, do you know why they decided to extend the length of the runs?
I think they just wanted to do something different with the format. That's just how they I don't know, like I think they said it in some random interview that I heard, but they with the first game, they always wanted to kind of push the boundaries of what they were doing. So the first game, it started off with, you know, this grueling eldritch, you know, driven Lovecraft type of campaign. And then when they added the first DLC, they were like, we want to do vampires, but not like bats and, you know, Nosferatu. So they did bugs. Like, their vampire version enemy are like blood-sucking bugs. And, you know, that was kind of interesting. And then they wanted to do some kind of arcade endless mode, so they made an endless mode. And then they wanted to try PvP, so they made PvP. You know, they always want to try new stuff with their game. And so when they made the new game, they're like, we just want to do a roguelite and see where it goes. But I think some of the issues the game is facing definitely come from that. It wants to do both things. Like, it wants to be this, you know, grueling turn-based fight simulator, but then also like a roguelite, and it's trying to do two major things, and that's kind of where the conflict is. It's trying to be both, and it's going to have trouble being both, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's the fact that the length of the runs have extended might be from being over ambitious, maybe. I don't necessarily want to say like over as a like negative term, but
yeah,
just very ambitious, right? So it's like, yeah. But I am excited to play Darkest Dungeon 2 when it fully releases. Another tweet from June 7th this time, not so long ago. Yeah, it's the last one though.
Okay.
It's been a lot of work, but I feel I'm in the best mental space of my life. I'm thankful for the people in my life and this amazing community we've put together for helping me get there. Y'all are beautiful. What got you to write this tweet on June 7th?
Oh man, you picked a good one. It's all heartfelt. But yeah, so I was having some personal issues and stuff like that. So I part of it was I started going to therapy, but you know, I'm not trying to weigh down the interview with that one, but that's been really helpful. And then also I just woke up one day, and like that day, I guess it was, but you know, I was like reading through my YouTube channel, and I was getting some nice comments. I was looking at Discord, my Discord server, and it was like really active. I'm just sitting here going, you know, there's all these just great people that I don't even know how I attracted them, you know. So I never like to say that I have this community and stuff like that, because it's a group effort. So I like to say we.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was looking around one day, you know, that day specifically, just a lot of nice people just talking about Darkest Dungeon, being huge nerds about it. It was great to read. You know, I got my stream and stuff like that. A lot of nice people, some regulars popping in there saying hi, and they always just chatted up for, you know, a couple hours. And it was just amazing to me. Like I never really stopped to look back, I think is the point I'm making. Like I didn't stop to look back and see the journey so far. And that was the day I did it. And then when I did that, I was like, it's amazing, you know, and we're still going. So I got nothing but love, and I'm super thankful and very lucky to be here.
Absolutely. And if anyone's listening looking for a nice Darkest Dungeon community, join ShuffleFM's Discord server.
Yes.
We'll put it in the description below. But yeah, that's it's amazing. It's a bit of what we talked about earlier. You know, take a pause, and just look at where you're at right now, and not so much look at what you want to accomplish. And it's something I think as human beings, we, regardless of, being a content creator or not, like I think it's something we have a hard time doing. We always want more. We always want to, at work and with relationships, and the grass is always greener, and you can be ambitious and just taking a pause. I invite everybody at home, why not take a pause right now and think about what you already have, and I'm guessing, and I'll speak for myself, I know it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Already, so we have audience questions, talking about community audience questions here. Got two. If you never got hooked onto DD, what game instead do you think would have you gripped?
At this current point in time, like if I started tomorrow as like a content creator, it could either be like Devolver Digital titles, because I think Loop Hero is an amazing game that doesn't get enough love. Cult of the Lamb is really fun. I had recent success with that, but if I picked an early access title or something like that, it'd probably be The Last Spell. Like, that game is so fun. I don't know what it is. It's got, like, it's a pixel graphic game, but like the gameplay is really fun. The music is fantastic, and I really enjoy that. So I'd probably start there if I was gonna do like the same kind of content, because it's a challenging game. So I'd like to learn it and then teach other people how to do it. But I guess that would be it. Like I can't really think of something else that like is really I don't know, like I'm approaching it from like a content creator standpoint. Like, what can I make something out of? But if I just had to pick a game that would hook me, it would be like The Last Spell or Into the Breach, I think.
Yeah, good picks.
Mm-hmm.
Did we not do The Last Spell with you?
No.
No. Oh.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Great game.
Yes.
The launch was a great success as well. Like, it's just a game that just keeps you going. I think like the one more turn type of approach, one more round. It's hard to stop. I've been victim of that as well. All right. Other question. Hey, Shuffle. What is the best book you've ever read or movie you've ever watched?
Can I answer both?
I was gonna say or both. Yeah.
Okay. So as far as books go, I was actually a big fantasy nerd, so I like the R.A. Salvatore books, like the Forgotten Realms ones. I really like those. But as far as movies go, it's Jurassic Park. But before anyone says, haha, whatever, but it's when you're a kid, it's a great movie, because when you're a kid, it's about dinosaurs and it's scary. It's like, and then when you're an adult, you realize that it's exploring things like ideas like, the morality of genetic engineering and, late stage capitalism, stuff like that. And it kind of hits both ends. Like, when you're a kid, it's really enjoyable. Then when you're an adult and you think about it, it asks a lot of interesting questions. And so I really like it for those reasons. Yeah.
I mean, it's a classic movie. Personally a fan of Jurassic Park myself, and it's also from when I was a kid, Yeah. So kind of like nostalgic about the movie as well. Great stuff. All right. We're hitting the next and final segment of this show. It's the rapid fire question segment. Okay.
My God.
So there's 15 questions. It's a this or that, right? So 2 options. Don't think, just answer. Are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Let's do it. Question number 1, we start. Sunlight or moonlight?
Moonlight.
You're thinking too much.
Yeah, I know.
Pool or snooker?
What?
Pool or snooker?
What's snooker?
It's like a different type of billiard type of stuff.
Okay, pool. 'Cause I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Apple juice or Coca-Cola?
Coke.
Would you commit a serious crime to keep your Twitch account? Yes or no?
No.
Hands or feet?
Hands?
Microsoft Word or Google Docs?
Word.
Drink food or eat water?
Eat water.
Arm wrestle a chimpanzee or box a baboon?
I'd arm wrestle the chimp. Sorry.
Would you rather be an even number or odd number?
Odd.
Be famous but normal or a superhero but nobody knows you?
Hero, but no one knows me.
Have an obsessive, insane person love you or hate you?
Hate me.
Super glue your hand to your face or your feet to your butt?
My hand to my face.
Get a vitamin D deficiency or iron deficiency?
Vitamin D.
What do you call the factory that makes OK products?
The OK Actory?
The Satisfactory.
Oh my god.
555 divided by 5.
111?
There we go. Nice. There it is. 15 questions answered.
Oh, jeez.
Successfully. Thanks for coming on, Adam, ShuffleFM. And I want to drop your social handles right here. And also, guys, they're all in the description below. Twitch.tv/ShuffleFM. Twitter, YouTube, ShuffleFM. Good job. You found it. You locked them up already. How about Discord? Is there a Discord handle you have?
There is, but it's not. My community's not big enough for a custom link yet, so we're just using the pre-gen one. So whatever I've been linking under the videos.
Yeah. So you guys can find that on Twitch or on YouTube and all that stuff, right? Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you, Adam, and that was a lot of fun to get to know you a bit more, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon about working on some game releases together for amazing strategy games. Guys at home listening, don't forget to let us know who you want us to interview next. We're back every Tuesday with another episode. Thank you so much for listening. See you soon.
Yeah, thank you.